Good afternoon. We are happy to have Ms. Anya Geraldine D'Souza, a CMO fractional strategic marketing consultant. She helps brands expand internationally. She's a growth expert, speaker, and a marketing thought leader on sustainable business strategy. Welcome to the podcast, Ms. Anya.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. You have led marketing and communication across diverse industries.
Right.
Can you tell us what are the key experiences that shaped your approach in building impactful brands?
I think in my span of my career, working across various countries, what's really critical for most brands looking to make an impact with marketing or just building their brand is really being able to understand their customers, ensuring they're aware of what the market dynamics are, and that differs from geography to geography.
That's right.
Also ensuring they have an equally strong product offering rather,
right.
that meets the customer needs, understanding what their competition does, and bringing all of it together in a way that is really meaningful to be able to stand out to the market, that impacts sales growth and sales lift,
right.
and definitely leads to growth in the long term.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. In your view, what must every company, be it big or small, should get right while crafting a marketing strategy? The environment today is very, very competitive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I believe organizations really need to focus on, again, the core offering that they have, understanding how it really differentiates or stands out in an often cluttered market where you have a ton of players who are basically competing.
Yes.
And commoditizing the market often, juxtaposing that against what their customers want, understanding the channels on which their customers are really going to consume promotional offers or campaigns that they're basically going to run.
Right.
And thereby being able to reach out to their customers in a way that's meaningful for the customer, that helps customers make an informed decision. I think another thing to keep in mind, and it's something we discussed earlier today, is that the customer funnel or the actual funnel is not linear anymore.
That's true.
It's circular, and hence you want to be sure that your brand's touch points are living your brand values at every touch point and not just at the upper end of the funnel.
Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you for the insight. Now, every single organization, they are focusing behind the short-term performance metrics, as well as they also want to establish a brand for long-term. Like, how do you strike a balance between the two?
Yeah, I think it's a topic that's being debated globally in all of the CMO fraternities. And initially, if you look back a few years ago, building a brand was of key importance. And I think in the last couple of years, largely when digital took over a lot of marketing activities during the pandemic, everything was hellishly focused on performance marketing, which is good, but which is also somewhere influenced by that overall brand that you do need to build. Otherwise, your performance campaigns really don't work. I'd say that at this point, marketers need to look at a 50-50 split between focusing on the brand, ensuring that they are investing in the brands that they are building, and ensuring that they also have a complementing performance campaign, which yields results which are more quantifiable and tangible in the short term, while the brand will yield the kind of customer engagement required over the long term.
Right. Can you tell me what are all the common mistakes companies make when they're planning for their marketing efforts?
Yeah. I'd say the first is making assumptions about customer behavior without really testing them in the market, and really assessing how customers feel about your product offering. That's one. And hence, at the very start, your entire marketing strategy is somehow slightly flawed if you're not doing that right. The right way is basically to assess with an open, unbiased mind and then bring those insights into your campaign. So that's one. The second would be being able to really fund a marketing strategy. Marketing is an investment for the long term.
That's right.
It's not going to give you ROI from day two.
Yes.
And hence having an appetite to be able to invest for the long run is critical. You can't build a brand without a certain amount of investment. That's two. Three is being able to really resource the function or your activities right, with the right people who have the right skills, the right ecosystem with the right skills, and which complement the budget, of course. And I think the last is really being able to set up the right KPIs to be able to track performance that meets your business goals over the long term. So I think a combination of these four would be something that is critical to do it well.
Everybody today is talking about purpose-driven communication, right? How can brands communicate purpose authentically rather than like being it superficial?
Yeah, no, that's a great point that you're making, and we have seen so many incidents of greenwashing across the world where companies actually promote initiatives that perhaps are not what they are in letter and spirit. I believe brands really need to focus on what purpose means for them. The profits, of course, are something that are well cast, but at the very core of their brands, what purposeful initiatives do they want to take up? And I think that we need to keep in mind that the marketing campaigns or the marketing strategy is a reflection of what actual purpose-driven initiatives they're actually doing. And I think that's when it's very authentic. It basically projects what is intended to be projected. And makes it very authentic for the customers, which really relate to actual initiatives which convey the purpose of that brand.
Nowadays, when we come across like promoting the brand, everybody talks about like narrate a story. Right? Your brand should be in a position to narrate a story. Like, so what role does this storytelling play in building the trust and emotional connection with all the stakeholders?
I know there was a professor of mine who said that a brand really has to be like your best friend. And you need, because even if a best friend makes a mistake, you're probably able to, in the long run, forgive the person and move forward. And if you look at various brands, whether you're talking about Cadbury's or Johnson & Johnson, etc., they are such dominant brands that we have forgiven them for small issues that we have run into over the years, right? Whether it's the chocolate or whatever. So that's ideally what you want to do. And to be able to do that, I think the brand needs to relate to people, not just in a way that pushes products or pushes offerings, but also is able to really talk to their customers, build human-centric stories that really resonate with them, talk about purpose initiatives which people are passionate about, or their customer audiences are passionate about. And that's when the relation between the customer with the brand builds. And that's really what you want in the long term.
Thank you for that insight. Internal communication is often overlooked, right? Now, marketing leaders, now how they need to align their communication with their internal audience.
I think one of the things which might not be so apparent sometimes, and it's very unfortunate, is that your employees are really a very key brand advocate for any brand. Your customers definitely are, but then so are your employees, because they're really living your brand values at every stage of your organization life cycle. And existing employees require to be engaged with your brand clearly, to ensure that they resonate with the same values that you're looking to promote. And they in turn become advocates in so many different places that you could not even imagine, right? When we talk about word of mouth referrals, it's really it's what's called the dark funnel right now, because they are untrackable brand references really. So you definitely want to focus on ensuring that you're communicating the right messages in an organization, and not just from a brand standpoint, but I think it's important to build a strong culture that's clear about what your objectives are as an organization, that hear from their leaders regularly, to ensure there is complete alignment. There's purpose in what you're doing in your little way, and how that ties into the bigger goal. So definitely critical.
And in fact, in terms of like service-based organizations, that internal communication plays a major role.
Absolutely.
The reason being like your employees, they are the brand. In fact, they are the service.
Absolutely.
A customer judges the service based on the people with whom they have the first interaction.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
I'm going to pose a question which is pertaining to your previous assignment with LG. See, LG operates across global markets, right? India, the US, Europe, and more. Like, how do you adapt the brand messages across regions while keeping the brand identity consistent?
One of the things that we did make a conscious effort to do at LG was really focus on how we built, while we stood with our global brand, and we were clear that we wanted to build a global for the world brand, and we were proud about the whole Made in India thing. We also wanted to resonate with audiences in regions. So if you look at Europe, for example, we have actually built out campaigns in various languages that really spoke to our audiences there.
Took
note of local culturally relevant events, etc., to ensure that it was in sync with what was happening in the region,
Right.
both culturally and from a language perspective.
Right.
If you look at Australia, it's definitely a much more direct culture. So we basically build campaigns there which spoke in a
Okay.
little more direct manner to our customers very clearly in terms of what we were trying to say.
Okay.
North America again is quite a diverse market.
That's true.
And hence I think what we endeavored to do was to ensure that we took the global brand, we ensured that we were culturally and locally relevant in all of the markets that were really critical for our business growth strategy. And these were basically North America, Europe, etc., and Australia, and really backed that up with being able to build messages that resonated with customers in the country, both to ensure our brand grew in terms of recognition, but that we also saw significant customer acquisition while marketing related initiatives.
Right. See, today there is a growing emphasis on integration of ESG narrative
Yes.
into brand strategy. Like, how can sustainability and the business purpose strengthen brand reputation when communicated well?
Yeah. Quite a number of different things, I think, because at the point where, okay, I believe that sustainable business strategy is a prerequisite for any company.
Right.
And sustainability should not be a standalone activity like sometimes a CSR activity becomes when you
Right.
kind of put it aside and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And
Yes.
in the true, if you look back at the history of how sustainability came to be and how ESG developed, it really was to be woven into business strategy to ensure that every strategic initiative in the organization, whether you were looking at social impact initiatives, whether you were looking at your operational manufacturing initiatives, or your product development initiatives, really had a sustainable element, which rose from giving back to the environment that you're in as much as you basically took from it, etc. And I think at the stage, I think what's important is that consumers today are looking for organizations who are giving back almost as much as they are taking from the earth and the environment to be able to run their businesses. And therefore, it's important to be able to communicate efficiently, factually, and in a way that's meaningfully what you are actually doing, how you're really benefiting or making an impact both environmentally or making an impact on social communities, etc., to be able to strengthen your overall brand focus.
As a brand communication specialist, are you able to see that, I mean, like the customers, they are able to differentiate companies which talk about ESG, but it is like more like a greenwashing.
Yeah.
So, are you seeing a phenomenon in which the customers are avoiding such kind of brands?
I would say that if you look at regions like Europe, the compliance to be able to register as a vendor to many organizations in Europe require that you fill out so many ESG or sustainability related documentation and evaluations. And then you have CBAM coming in and you have so many compliances, etc., that make it pretty necessary for you to be focusing here. It's not an option anymore, right?
Okay.
And hence, I think companies basically need to adhere to sustainable business strategy in letter and spirit, and not treat it as a standalone exercise that is purely for reputation building alone. I think that would be wrong.
So it is no longer a choice today, but I mean, like everybody has to fall in line in terms of like their sustainability.
Yes, I think it is the ideal future, right?
Right.
Because if you look backwards, companies that were heavily capitalist in nature.
Yes.
That's not a model that we can sustain anymore, right? With climate change, and you have like your resources pretty much in a tense ecosystem all over the world.
Right. Okay. Today, AI is a disruptor, right? Marketing is evolving rapidly with AI, data, and automation.
Yeah.
So, what skills the next generation of marketers must develop to sustain in this particular environment?
Yeah, my view, and it's something you and I discussed over lunch as well, is that I think students and the young marketers of tomorrow shouldn't be afraid of AI, and I think that's the worst mistake they could make.
Right.
I think it's important for them to understand the different types of tools that they have at their disposal, really look at how they study them, they adopt them pretty quick, and they are able to leverage them to be able to either to be able to elevate in two ways. One is in the efficiency of their output, and in the quality of their output, and in terms of the overall productivity and scale at what can be done. A fearful approach will not help. I
Right.
think an open mind and is really what's needed. And I believe that with learning how to use AI for a marketing person right now is no longer optional, right?
Right.
But the true skill of tomorrow's marketers are really going to be about how do they harness AI to be
Right.
able to really make a massive impact, juxtaposing business skill,
Yes.
marketing skill, etc., with the AI tools to be able to create phenomenal output.
Right. In fact, you have answered my next question. That was like, what advice would you give to young marketers who aspire to lead global marketing
Yeah.
functions someday?
Yeah. Um, I think two things other than the AI piece, which
Okay.
will also help them. I think the other thing is really developing a keen curiosity for markets, how markets and macroeconomic conditions that operate across the world.
Right.
Understanding how different markets and different geographies really work is critical to be able to understand how you could market successfully in these countries. Any sort of field experience or field projects that they would get would help them. Yeah, and I think that's really what's needed, apart from functional expertise, being very open to working with people across cultures, and learning what works in different countries, etc., in terms of
Yes.
consumer behavior is really critical.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Anya. You have shared your wonderful insights on areas like marketing strategy, marketing communication, branding, and global markets, as well as like leadership and the future of marketing.
Sure.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
once again.
Thanks. It's been lovely talking to you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.